It's episode 9.
It is episode 9.
Episode? No.
We were almost
Let's go, baby.
at double
Stars,
digits.
Rise of Star Killer.
Rise,
I hate you so
rise,
much,
mum.
Thomas. Alright, so for anyone that hasn't already noticed somehow, we have got 2 guests, which is may or may not get overwhelming. We'll see by the end of this. It's not off to a good start, let's be honest with that.
Oh, it started.
I'm guest starring.
It's
on
a
Barrel's
great start.
podcast.
Yeah. It's normally neither of them are free, and now both of them
I
are.
apologise.
So just a kind of coincidence of schedules. Both of them are now here. If this goes poorly, we'll just allow one in, and even if then you can be honest. If you hate both of them, just say. I mean, me and Harry both hate both of them, so it'll make our choices a lot easier.
With the
Hold on,
light,
hold on.
lights in your life.
What if people say they hate us?
Then I think it becomes their channel.
Taken over.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the end of us, which is a real shame.
Future Down was gonna come in handy.
Future Down. Yeah, that's the channel name.
I mean, it's not like the channel's a mix of our names, or
Are you telling me
Future Down
that?
was chiseled rat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
that would actually that's a pretty cool look. I could see
That's
that. Just
awesome.
an absolutely
'Cause you could-
ripped
yeah.
rat.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's what it should
Okay,
be.
maybe you should
banned.
actually. Maybe you two should start your own channel. And
Yeah, what would it be about? Stocks.
yeah, that's all you two really talk about now. So.
I think we lost Tom.
I don't
very
think
much
we
on
ever
topic.
really had him.
I'm just being very quiet.
And respectful. I appreciate that because I've yet.
Otherwise, because this is gonna happen. See, you're
I'm
already
j-
talking about- this is why. This
Yeah,
is why. This is
yeah.
what I'm
Stop
saying,
talking
I
over each other.
think. Yeah.
All right. Intro.
Idiot. I hate you.
That is a. If this was too much for you, quit now. But
Welcome to.
Quit while you're
welcome,
ahead.
welcome to Barrel Vision Podcast, starring me, you, and those two. Today, talking about robots. Not anything to do with Deep Rock Galactic, just robots in general.
No, just
Yeah.
robots in
do
general.
we
Whether or
think
not they're a
AI?
mistake.
Do we think AI will kill us all? Because I think they probably would.
Absolutely.
No, I think they won't. I think it's stupid. I think the idea that an AI would automatically assume its responsibility is to save the planet is just retarded.
Well,
I
no.
shouldn't say that. I'll take
Well,
that
no.
back. I shouldn't use the R word.
It's not inherently like that, right? Like it's like if
I think you've forgotten
it's
that this is a Deep Rock podcast.
well, no, this is tied to the Deep Rock Robots Trust. If the
the
objective
nemesis.
of the robot was to just make paper, right, and like just
To kill
print,
dwarves.
yeah, was to kill dwarves, right? They would do everything in their power to do that, which would
What power do
include
they actually have?
anything they could get their grubby little mechanical hands on, which is
The problem
what
is,
the nemesis
if they make an
reckons.
AI that has the capabilities to A, be self-aware enough to decide it wants to do that, and B, powerful enough to get like nuclear codes, then we're done, aren't we? That's all it takes.
Pretty much.
That shouldn't exist. An AI that has the ability to launch nukes should never exist. That should never be something that a robot is able to decide to do.
Yeah, well, there's more options than nukes, obviously, but
How
I think
about-
we may be getting off topic.
we cast the Deep Rock movie. I know that Dean Norris, that guy from Breaking Bad, where he's like the happy and sad faces thing.
Right. I
He
think
should be mission control.
you need to stop talking. Right. So, we brought this idea, like this concept, this podcast idea, because I saw on the Reddit, which is where most of the ideas come from, really. Thanks for that, community. But
The show community.
stop. I resisted
gonna say
talking
that.
about
I
it.
was
I
gonna say it was a good
resisted talking
I
about it.
resisted.
Uh,
Harry, you're
And the one that
completely
hasn't even watched it brought it up. Yeah.
Rip.
Okay, hold on. It's coming. I saw it on the Reddit, and I saw some people. Don't. I saw them talk about like a dislike for the robots, and the meme itself was just kind of a post just kind of dissing on the robots, which is normal at this point. But I read the comments,
Yeah,
and
pretty
there were
common.
people that legitimately stopped playing the game because of the addition of robots,
Yeah.
which like, fair enough, do what you want, it's your life and all that jazz. But I cannot believe that they were that bad. They were that, like, intolerable that you just had to stop playing the game, which I assume you liked because you're still in the Reddit, even though you haven't played it in like a bunch of months. Like, it's just kind of whack. And
Goes on the Reddit for a game he doesn't use.
well, I mean, I'm still on the Vigor
A lot of
Reddit.
people go
Tom.
there. And,
I just haven't unfollowed it, but yeah, and I think that's absolutely crazy. And obviously, I would like to actually talk with them as to why, but we are now going to try and dissect robots and see if they were actually a bad idea for the game.
Can I just say, I said something yesterday, like about trawlers, and how if trawlers were in every biome, I wouldn't play the game.
Yeah,
Which I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I hate trawlers. But I do think the robots are nowhere near as bad as them. I love the robots. So I think that we should start really a little bit more not physical. I don't know the word, I've forgotten the word. On a more conceptual level of them just being robots. Like the effect that has on the way how they exist. Instead of just being normal enemies.
yeah, like
Right.
how the decision to make them a robot really affected them, like, because they could have just been like grunts and or a new variant of like nature, right? They didn't have to be a robot thing, but if they consisted of the same things, would that actually have like changed the result of people hating them? Like if this was like the patrol bots are like a Mactera, right?
Yeah, like a Mactera Praetorian equivalent, I guess. But
Yeah.
that's a good one, because I guess the Goo Bomber... What's the Goo Bomber? Acid Spitter, I guess.
and
then, like-
Goobobbers are pretty unique. But
But
they're-
if you wanna like do a direct translation,
A direct translation for an acid spitzer would probably be the Trijaw or the Spawn. Shoot.
yeah, I actually that is probably more accurate. Although they're
This is
also
very necessary.
yeah, but it is kind of
no,
interesting.
Trijaw is the slasher.
I like the addition of them. They're good. They're good.
Yeah,
Over. Video done.
thank you
And
for
the
watching.
Shredders, the Shredders would be like the Mactera swarmers, basically.
Yeah.
So they should bite you.
Like,
And like the
which
Nemesis could
there
be
is
their
kind of
oppressor
already
or detonator equivalent.
like shockers and all that, but like maybe they are just like little flies that just do a little bit of damage. But like because they decided to do robots, so many more things kind of occurred, right? Like I think the main element of the robots is their heavy ties to elements, basically. Like
Or
how
lack thereof.
well, yeah. Well, the fact that like they are both very vulnerable to some and completely immune to others, which for a normal enemy is pretty whack, right? Like you only
Just a little bit whack.
you only start getting some like weaknesses and immunities with like boss level enemies. Like dreadnoughts are immune to like fire and they don't get cold as easily. Like and the only real casual
They
enemy
don't get colds as easily.
the only real casual enemy that is like immune to stuff is like an oppressor, and even then they're probably one of the toughest normal things you'll come across. But no, all of the like little robots are immune to neurotoxin. Like all robots are just straight immune to that. I think poison as well, isn't it?
Yep, but the poison is very singular. That is like
It
one
just shifts up the
mod.
meta so much.
Yeah, which it's not inherently a bad thing because it's like obviously it's made fire. Like I mean, fire personally, I never liked it, but I could see it was still fine. But now fire is almost essential. Like like a fire build is now so much stronger than like other builds because of robots, and it's like like sometimes you pick to go into a robot mission like rival presence or salvage operation, not salvage operation, caretaker one, and so
industrial sabotage.
Yeah.
That one.
so you can go into those with fire, which is fine. It's like building a build for dreadnoughts. You know what I mean? It's specifically designed to help complete the mission, which is fine. But with like the seasonal events that also release robots, having fire in no matter what form is always just a good shout. And with nemesises that can also
Yeah,
spawn
but
around.
it's always good anyway.
Wait,
So
That's not
I
necessarily
can't.
a bad effect.
I
Yeah.
can't put it down too much.
But now it trumps basically all other elements, really, like in usefulness. Like, because, neurotoxin on Thunderhead was broken, which I guess you could say this is a way of balancing it, but it just did, like, so much.
Yeah, but was Neurotoxin ever actually useful? It's just powerful.
Yeah, it's just immeasurably ammo efficient and,
Doesn't
like...
have any particular use.
Yeah, but now it's, like, useless, really. It's like, it's just a downgrade, I think, really, because whatever the negative of neurotoxin is, or neurotoxin payload, that's all that there is against robots, which is something, I suppose. You know what I mean? Like, you can't ignore the fact that they make some things weak and strong, but it isn't new. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a new thing that some things are immune to certain effects. Like, with, as mentioned, the dreadnoughts, like, they're immune to fire. And yet no one ever really thought that fire was... Well, I kind of did. But, like, the fire was a lot weaker than everything else.
Well, that was the main reason that I did think that, was because of dreadnoughts.
Yeah. So it's kind of just diversified status effects, but I don't know. And they're still also weak to some other things. Like, I'm pretty sure they're weak to corrosion, like, pretty strong.
Yeah, corrosion feels really good against robots. But corrosion
That
is
makes
probably
sense.
the most limited. I mean, I guess poison is more limited because it's like one mod, but corrosion feels so intrinsically tied to the sludge pump that it feels like it can't be anywhere else. I guess you could say the same thing about the flamethrower and the cryo cannon, but I don't. I think it's because the sludge pump's new. It introduced its own status effect that hasn't been implemented anywhere else yet.
Yeah.
And that's the entire basis of the gun, unlike acid bolts, which is just one option.
Yeah, which is still the same thing, though, if you think about it. Like, acid bolt is still the first available way of dealing poison that has been added to a new gun, and it's the only way of dealing that.
Yeah, but it's
So-
the kind of status effect I can see being in other places, because the other ones are electricity and pheromones. They're not new.
Yeah,
So
and they're not
poison
good.
is one I can see elsewhere. Sludge, well, corrosion is an effect I can... It's probably just going to stay on the sludge pump forever, unfortunately.
Maybe. I mean, at this point, yeah, I mean, there's, like, we can't be expecting any new guns anytime soon, so it would just be an overclock, if anything.
What do you mean?
Uh,
I think there are actually some people expecting like new guns. Again, soon.
Well, the thing is, a lot of new people have just joined the game, right? A lot of people, since they started adding seasons, are like, "Oh, this game's cool," and "Oh, they're adding new guns," and that's all they know, right? That's their way of life, is new guns. They're constantly adding new guns, which is going to
Don't
be
get used to it, fellas.
a real, like, a real shift when they realise it's probably going to be another few years until there's any thought of adding new guns. Like,
Which is why I think that to sort of almost substitute for that, there could be something said about an idea of when it comes to adding new overclocks. Maybe they should just add like a new overclock for every weapon, like, every season.
maybe.
Once they
Possibly,
start doing it.
Well, I don't
They don't
know.
even
I
need to
think
come out
I
the
think
gates
I think the
swinging.
robots at the moment, that sort of thing is probably how they'll continue to change the game. Temporary
The
events,
seasonal
which then shift the
stuff.
meta, and then
Yeah.
it goes back to
Yeah.
normal, and then they add another season which shifts the meta another way. So it's always
That's what
changing,
we
but
would
never
be
the
hoping
same,
for.
Yeah, so
It's fun, yeah.
maybe...
which is quite cool, and also then means that the game doesn't get overwhelming with content.
Yeah, because think about it, like, I mean, a overclock each season is reasonable, right? You would think that's fine. But, like...
1 o'clock per weapon, yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Like, but imagine that it's going to get, like, overwhelming. Like, because that, bear in mind, that is then, like, if they were to keep adding seasons, season 10, that's, like, 8 new overclocks, right? They're going to be struggling to
Well, I
think
guess
of new
every
overclocks.
every other season, 1 overclock per gun, that'll be sustainable for a while, I think. And remember, when we had this discussion about overclocks being like a big addition for a season, we were thinking like 3 per weapon for 1 season.
Yeah, but it's
So
also...
that's like 1 season's worth across 3 seasons. Or if they want to do it, it could be across 6 seasons. You know?
Yeah, but
It could take a while.
I don't know, because the game doesn't like doing that kind of gameplay addition other than cosmetics. Because cosmetics they just give out a bunch every season, have done for a while. But with like things, they like doing updates that add it. Like they'll do like a overclock update, and then they added all the overclock.
Oh yeah, right.
like,
Yeah.
They're not.
Which is why I think they will do it that way. I think they're just going to dump a lot of overclocks at one point in like the next couple seasons,
yeah,
and then be done with it.
but it's going to be difficult to see the future, because with the addition of robots,
Because we're not clairvoyants.
yeah, that is
We
a
can't see
reason
the
as well.
future.
With the addition of robots, there's going to be robots every season, if you know what I mean. Every season there is going to be an addition, maybe not to the same degree, but the same kind of level as robots that will be divisive every season. I would imagine.
I reckon it's actually more likely that there'll sort of be every theme will be 2 seasons. I actually think it's more likely than not, because season 2 recycled a lot of content to make new content. I think that's the way they want to do things. It's economic.
Yeah, but I don't think they wanted to do it. I think they just realized they kind of had to. I think,
but they might have to again.
because maybe right, but they might not as well. Like it's because they realized that
Wow.
there's the issue of what do we do with all this new content, right? And they were trying to figure that out. And then they realized that, we're adding secondaries to the primaries, and it probably became just a lot easier of an option to just say part 2, right? Just kind of add an extra robot, add the presence, and like just kind of keep the robot theme, because it just makes more sense than creating a new one and then adding secondaries. But now with like the seasons are going to be a lot more different than primary guns, secondary guns, right? Like the only way you could really get as like I don't know a part 1, part 2 would be if they added a bunch of active perks one season and then a bunch of passive the next. Like I don't know. It could obviously keep going at 2 at a time, maybe even 3, but I think it'll be weird to assume that they're going to keep doing 2s, considering they clearly already regret doing this. Like the first thing they basically said from season 2. In fact, I think before season 2 came out, that we're not doing the robots again. Right? They were basically already sick of robots going into season 2. Like they already wanted to move on, and robots were a pretty cool idea. Really, I mean, obviously the execution
They realise a lot of people don't actually like the robots.
Yeah, I think because it has been quite a vocal minority, right? A lot of people have had a lot of complaints about robots, and how
Roblox.
about robots and how they exploit children, which is the thing. But
Right, careful.
yeah, and about like
Roblox, by the way, no accusations of any kind are being thrown at Ghost Ship Games.
Yeah,
All I want to accuse Ghost Ship Games of is being cool guys.
yeah. Sure, we'll go with that. But yeah, with the robots, it's just I don't know. Like a lot of people complained about them being too hard. Like it's just they're too difficult to deal with, and I cannot disagree on a theoretical standpoint, right? Like the patrol bot is harder than like most enemies combined to deal with. Right, its movement is very erratic. It is very accurate of a ranged thing, and I mean, it's just quite annoying to hit. Really, it's like if a Mactera didn't actually stand still to attack. It is violent, and especially since they can get like a couple of them at a time.
Probably the biggest problem with it. I think it's just the precision and frequency of its attacks. Really, I like the movement, to be honest, aspect of it, and I don't mind it. Like their weak points are very weak. They're very weak to melee damage too. A power attack will do like half the health in the weaker version.
That is the thing.
But
like,
their attacks.
Once you grab a
that
hand
make
of
them
that
annoying.
fat fucking ball, right? Like they become quite easy to kill. Like you only have to hit them a couple times in the right place to drop them, and obviously setting them on fire is very vulnerable. But if you are not built for those things, you are punished so hard by a patrol bot, right? Like if you like like I don't know, just have a gun that doesn't rely on like accuracy, or it's just I don't know, probably like Zukovs or something, but you don't have embedded detonators, which is kind of weird if you do, but like, don't have embedded detonators. But yeah, like something like that. That would be pretty hard to go up against 2 patrol bots, especially if you're like on your own. Although I imagine the Bosco would help.
I mean, yeah, Bosco would help with that.
Have you struggled against them, Joes?
No. That's what I'm sitting there just going,
No.
I've never really struggled against the patrol bots. I'm not sure where it's coming from, to be honest. I thought they were just a relative pain in the arse.
No more of a pain in the arse than like a Trijaw or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like,
it's just a slight inconvenience that can have some benefits come out from it.
and I do agree, because as mentioned, I think it's more theoretical. Theoretically, they are hard. Like, you know what I mean? They are hard, like, they dodge and move quickly. You have to be quite accurate. They're
People's
very
problem
accurate.
also with it is that they're probably just all added at once. Like, a lot of new things to deal with.
Yeah, people, because you don't actually
It
hear...
wasn't like a slow change or slow increase in stuff. They just
Yeah.
suddenly added all of this shit that now they have to deal with that the standard player doesn't really think about,
yeah.
really, do they?
And not to
They
mention,
just
like...
play the game.
I think people obviously, because this post was quite recent, people still do hate robots, right? But these people, they added robots, they hated them, and they stopped playing, right? But most people, they would complain about robots immediately, but eventually they learned how to play against them, right? Where to hit them, where to do that. And once you know how to fight the robots, they become just as easy as all the other enemies, right? Like, pickaxe the shredders, job done. You know what I mean? Like, they are just as vulnerable as, like, shockers. They're just a bit annoying to hit.
Just the robot equivalent of a swarmer.
Well, yeah, like aerial, but like, yeah, it's literally just a pickaxe, a pickaxe to the face of a shredder, and they're done. And obviously, they can be an issue, same as swarmers, right? But they're exactly the same as swarmers. You're used to fighting swarmers. Shredders are not that different. Same as like the shockers and all that. Like,
Hit them with the pickaxe.
just because
Not
they're
hard.
new doesn't mean they're like bad and dangerous. But really, I don't think anyone's complaining that much about the those like the shredders, mainly because they're not that bad, really.
Or the turrets that much, or not the turrets on their own. More so the turret controller.
The turrets are just annoying.
The turrets,
They're not really particularly difficult. I just find them really annoying, just because they're just quite accurate.
They're annoying if you throw yourself at them.
well, yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
turrets are like patrol bots, like the normal burst ones are like patrol bots, but they sit still.
They
So-
never ever seem to be. They're never like hard on their own to fight. It's just in combination with everything else.
Yeah.
Which maybe seems as if they haven't thought too much about. Like, have they even like reduced the amount of enemy spawn rate that aren't them with the presence of those stuff?
Well,
Probably
in
It
rival
feels like
presence,
it.
the warning, the rivals spawn probably less common, but the same kind of existence as like swarmers in Swarmageddon and exploders in Exploder Infestation. It's kind of their own separate reoccurring swarm of them, right? But I think rivals probably spawn a bit less common than those other two. They're like a constant
I
stream.
think it's
so-
less
Just a little bit,
frequent.
Yeah, they're less frequent,
Definitely
but you know,
frequent.
obviously, I would say the rival swarms are stronger. You know what I mean? Because a bunch of exploders, you get one, they basically deal with themselves.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah,
and the
exploders,
swarmers,
fine.
as long as you build it for it, they're not an issue. But you know, rivals.
I mean, yeah, if
are
you have
dangerous.
thorns equipped, swarmers are pretty easy
Yeah,
to deal with.
which is the same as
Not,
Shredders.
no.
They're
Actually...
actually-
Swarmers and Swarmageddon on Hazard 5. Thorns won't
Yeah.
deal with that for you.
Well, you
Thorns
if-
is only
if
good
you-
for dealing with the odd
That's fine.
few while
If
you're
you-
being overrun.
Yeah, if you don't have AOE, thorns and pickaxing, you need to pickaxe with thorns, right? The thorn attack,
Yeah.
pickaxe attack, that's 2, and then in that time you'll get they'll probably get hit again while the thorns is charging. But yeah, you can deal with 2 at a time with thorns and pickaxe. But yeah, swarmers and exploders are a bit less dangerous, so they're a lot more common in those warnings. But yeah, the rivals are
So common, in fact.
just an extra threat every so often in rival presence. And with rival presence, there is also the controller that Harry mentioned.
Yeah, which is like one of my favourite things in the game.
I think it is interesting. I want them to do more like it, right? Because
Yeah, so
I
do
think
I.
you've got to acknowledge, like, imagine they go back now and they add, like, a swarmer hub, or like a swarmer nest, or like an exploder nest, right? And then you have to take those out, and it reduces the amount of like swarmers and
Oh, I
exploders.
see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, like that. Those kind of events could be cool. Like
Or
things,
Maxterra hides.
things that you have to take down to make your lives easier throughout the mission. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Kind of like the, what the fuck are they called? The wasp nests.
Yeah, what's next? Is that if those wasps were following you
Next.
like the entire mission, you know what I mean? Like,
What's
Yeah.
next?
Yes, the wasp next.
so yeah, I think it
What's
was really
sex?
cool in concept, and I think the execution was fine, but maybe they did lay it on a bit thick. Like maybe there is a bit too many, like burst turrets and repulsion turrets.
I'm not sure I can really respect that opinion.
Well, Harry,
So-
more
I know
often
the
than not,
position
You are
I'm
wrong,
coming
and I
at.
cannot
No,
respect
I know
it.
the position I'm coming at it from, but I've had very little trouble with them, and I've mainly played in Hazard 5
Harry,
as well.
Harry, but
Harry,
like if
have
you
very
are
little
not,
trouble with most things, let's be honest.
yeah, that's true. But Harry, if you are not driller, more often than not, have you not killed like half, if not more, of the turrets to actually get
Yeah.
to the hacking thing?
And it's
So
never that much of a pain.
yeah, so but do you not understand that that's kind of dumb? Why bother hacking it if you've already killed most of the enemies? Right? You need to
Yeah.
be
You don't have to
able.
hack it.
Yeah, but like, why give you the option? You need to be able to get to the turret to then shut down the enemies. I think the turrets should be like further away. So if you can sneak through the turrets, you can actually hack the thing and deactivate them all, saving you the ammo. But you have to use a bunch of ammo just to hack them to then kill a couple more turrets, right? It's kind of a waste of time. Not to mention the risk you take by
I don't see
hacking.
how that's a waste.
Well-
I just don't see that's what they're not gonna. There isn't less of ammo. there are as many as there are, and you're going to have to use that ammo. You're still saving ammo on the ones that you don't have to shoot to kill.
Yeah, but like, and like more often, like sometimes some of them get put in areas where they don't even affect you. So like most of the time, the ones that you've cleared out, and it's just especially in like point extraction and stuff, the ones you've cleared out are the only ones that are threats. So it's a waste of time to even hack them, let alone like kill them and do all that. So what's
It
really
can be pretty bad on point extraction.
yeah, it can be
refineries.
it can be really bad, but like it's not even that. But it's just I don't know. It's kind of a weird system. Like to get to the hacking thing to deactivate the turrets, you have to kill the turrets. So it
But
kind
you
of
don't have to view the hacking thing as the main point of it all. The point is just to kill the turrets one way or another.
then why have the hacking thing?
Because you can.
The
do it
hacking thing
sometimes.
was obviously that was like a thing. They were like, okay, we'll add a bunch of turrets and we can like hack them to shut them down, and it'll be cool on that. But like, it's not reasonable to hack them at all most of the time, unless you've got a driller that can dig up under it. You're not gonna pull off a hack that's actually useful. Like it's kind of backwards in the way that it works.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it really. I don't think the point has to be so. I don't think the point of the turret controller has to be so there all the time. It doesn't have to be useful all the time. It can be. The encounter can go differently.
Yeah, but Harry, I'm not saying that it has to be useful all the time. I'm saying it has to be useful ever. Because if there is not a driller, you are wasting your time hacking because you basically
No.
killed most of the turrets anyway.
Have to. Sometimes I've done a fair few. I haven't really had to kill any turrets, and I wasn't driller.
Yeah, and that's just RNG.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe like the turrets could be more spread out, and if you kind of get through a couple turrets, you can save yourself all the others.
You can do that anyway. It's about prioritizing which ones are going to be the biggest problem, and then just to be the most efficient, you take out only ones you need to, and then hack.
Yeah, but most of the time it requires a lot of them because they spawn so densely around the turret. Like you need to take out probably 2 of the repulsors, like probably 3-4 bursts on the way there, and all the sniper turrets are probably going to see you as well, because most get rooms in this game are quite open. So it kind of just results in I might as well just not bother, which is kind of a annoying, sad thing because I want to do things. Like a pointless event is kind of sad. It's like
It's never really pointless though. You're gonna it. Sometimes the controller is pointless. That's true, but you're still gonna have to take out the turrets. They still represent a threat that is a part of the mission and a part of that mutator. It's not actually an objective, and it's not like an event either. It's actually more appropriately described as an enemy that exists within that warning.
I think I don't know about this, but I think it would have been a bit better if the turrets, well, first of all, less turrets, more spread out, but the turrets couldn't actually be hurt until you hacked the thing, right? So
That would be a way
That's
to make it.
dumbest idea
Like-
I've ever heard.
you're so dumb. Literally, obviously this will negate the whole ammo efficiency thing, but I'm already convinced it's not real. You don't really save ammo from hacking. You spend most of the ammo you're going to spend anyway. But this would encourage and require you to actually hack. And obviously, how it is currently, that's completely unreasonable, and it could never happen in a million years. The turrets cover the thing way too much, and you would need a driller at that point. But like, if it was more like spread out in how it was guarded, you need to like kind of get through the turrets without, you know, dying to them, and like maybe getting some cover, hope for the best, and use your traversal, and then hack them. And like the scout could go in, hack them, and then everyone else could clear the turrets out. And I think that was a lot more interesting than just clearing the turrets out anyway, and then hacking if you feel like it in the empty room. Like, that's all it is currently, really, as far as I'm concerned. And so I don't know. I think it's a really cool concept. Like, I really want them to do more like warning specific events, because as much as you say it's an enemy, it's an event. It's an event like a Nemesis on a normal mission, or a Crassius is, right? It's in the mission, kind of just waiting for you to stumble across it, right? It's just, you know, it's going to be there because of the warning, which I think is pretty cool. And I would argue,
Yeah, and I want more stuff like that.
yeah, but I don't know. I think this could have been done a bit better, to be honest with you. I think they kind of just threw a bunch of turrets and things at it, and then like, hack it because you can. I'm like, I don't really need to most of the time. Not to mention,
I think there's
hacking
definitely
is
something to
kind
be
of annoying.
said
Now.
that this entire faction basically is either stationary or flying enemies.
Yeah,
And I think that's actually the root of a lot of frustration. I think people there's something just more satisfying about your enemy being basically on the same playing field as you. I mean, realistically, all the Glyphids are at disadvantage when you look into this. Every individual
Not to
Glyphid is at
mention-
disadvantage
not
because
to
you
mention-
always have more range than any given bug.
yeah. And not to mention the builds that rely on them coming to you, which that's like most of what Engineer has, and right, especially like, I mean, obviously he can get them in the air and that, but like, you know, the floor bombs or whatever they are, proximity mines, like they'll do stuff. You know what I mean? But they don't really do as much because all the enemies
Floor
are flying.
bombs.
Thank you.
Maybe
Just-
Tom,
just
maybe
approx-
Tom, you could say something a bit more useful than that. Just type it in to say floor bombs.
Oh god.
It's because you guys are having an argument, and I don't want to get in front of Mummy and Dad fighting.
I
That's
don't
weird.
like it when Mummy and Daddy fight.
Yeah, well, apparently we disagree on this. But in all fairness, I've not actually heard many people complaining about that inherently. It
The
really,
turret controller.
yeah, I've not.
You're
I have
both
lot-
making good points. That's the problem.
No, it's not.
There are points to and points against.
I think I agree. This be a bit more spread out. I don't like when there's a lot of repulsor turrets really close to the controller specifically.
It's repulsor
That
turrets.
shit's annoying. They changed
Exactly.
repulsor turrets though. They were buffed, like because they're tall. They used to just be like dwarf height. Now they're much taller.
So your height.
The things. Whoa! Yeah, but they're a
Harry's
lot
really
taller
short.
than even Thomas.
This is canon.
Thomas is really tall.
Canon
He's like
Baron
7
It is
7'8".
canon barrage in law.
Harry is 4
Baron
foot.
Barrows.
Yeah, I don't know, and I think it really does. As far as I can tell, the vocal it comes down to like Patrol Bot and Nemesis, and I think the Nemesis is only as bad as it is because it's very new. And like mentioned with the other things, people there probably are now. I don't think you actually see many people now complaining about it, but like yeah, it's new, so we don't know how to deal with it, so it's hard, and we can't just do it on
Yeah.
Has 5 immediately, so it's broken, and I can't play this game.
That was a lot of that at the beginning, and it really annoyed me.
Of course it
From
was.
like players who are like me but are bad people.
You are.
But they're like
It's
they were
okay.
angry at the fact that they couldn't just throw themselves into any consideration. Like their normal builds on Hazard 5, it's like I can't fight the robots. I don't think that's indicative of them being a problem. Frankly, that's a criticism that is not a criticism. That's something you can throw to the wayside. That's not really a part of this discussion about whether or not the robots are a good idea. Like the fact that they trip people up is a good thing. They shook things up. It doesn't mean we're perfectly executed, but the fact that it stumped some people, some like veterans who think they can do everything, I like that.
Yeah,
That's a good thing.
Say
I've
what,
been able to work around it.
say what you will, they definitely were a new challenge. Really, like like as much as we can easily like sort of like Nemesis is a bulk, goddamn. Shredders are swarmers and all that stuff. As much as
I
we
do
can tie
like
it to
that
those things,
exercise of doing that though. And
They
I kind of
are-
just want to do that.
they are very fresh takes on those things. You know what I mean? Even though they're kind of the same format, like the fact that the Nemesis, instead of just like detonating the area around it like a detonator, it straight grabs you. It has like an area of like grabbing distance, and that's pretty cool. And unlike like the detonator that you can just gun down from a range, the Nemesis actively prevents that because it makes sense. It's a
Yeah,
smart machine. It knows that you're gunning it down from a range that it can't really contest you on, so it prevents you from doing it. Like, really, it would have been smarter for them to actually just add guns to it, but we're glad they didn't, because they'd probably be quite hard.
It is kind of weird that none of them just have straight up guns. I mean, I guess some of them do.
Patrol bots.
Like the burst turrets and the snipers.
Patrol bots.
But
So like
the-
half.
and the patrol bots. But it feels
tendrils.
slightly unintuitive. That the most effective things actually hitting us are like the sniper turrets, and they don't have that just put on everything. Like surely the Nemesis should have just had a massive sniper turret on it. Like that's clearly the best thing they had.
Well,
For actually hitting dwarves.
I would actually argue that the sniper turret's not that good at killing dwarfs, honestly.
No, but it's the most accurate.
No, not really. Like,
It's very difficult to dodge.
Well, you can't dodge it, I think. Once it's locked on, it'll hit you, right? Like, unless you dash, probably.
Unless you get cover. Well, dash would work too, I think.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, well, the only reason they didn't do that is because of game balance, Harry. Because, honestly, if the Nemesis did have a sniper on the top of it, I think it would be a bit rough.
Well, you thought
Just a little bit.
When we first saw Nemesis, you thought that one of the arms was going to have a gun on it.
I
and
did.
I think that was probably a better idea. Instead of being able to grab two dwarves, it would have a ranged thing that would be a bit like similar to one of the appendages on the caretaker.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose I think if that was the case, I think it should be. It would have been a lot more of a boss fight, to be honest with you. Because as it is currently, it is a detonator. But if it had range as well, it would just be a straight dreadnought fight. Like
Yeah, I do I do in some ways wish it was more of a boss because then you would have it. You could destroy the arms, but
I think
Man,
people
Destroy
back
the arms,
as
that
well.
would be nice. Like a nice little add-on.
Yeah, and I think people probably would have preferred that as well. People would have been getting as mad because it's like it's a boss. You're not supposed to just easily kill it, and you're not supposed to easily kill it anyway. But there's nothing saying it, right? Like with the detonators, you can tell, looking dead in its eyes, that you're not going to kill this thing anytime soon, right? Like the bulbous mass. But with the Nemesis, you kind of feel like you should be killing it quicker than you are. I don't know
No.
if you feel.
No. What the hell? No, the Nemesis puts on more of a show than any other enemy does.
No, because the
This guy's
Nemesis really doesn't
here to
have
kick
that
your ass.
much of a presence. It is
What the-
it is a floating little box, right? That has arms and like has like a voice line, right? That is
It has voice lines.
yeah, we have voice lines. We're tiny, but like it isn't that intimidating. Like obviously, it's compared to the other robots and compared to most things in the game, yeah. But I think it could have been more so. You know what I mean? Like it could have been bigger. First of all, I think that would have been pretty cool.
That the initial art the art that's on like the loading screen. That when we first saw that, it was different, and the Nemesis was sort of in shadow, and it looked massive.
Yeah. But
It's not. It's not. Its arms are the biggest part of it, actually. I think.
Yeah, and it honestly kind of looks goofy sometimes.
I don't mind that. It's meant to be more intimidating to the dwarves than it is to the players. I think.
Yeah. Which makes
It
sense.
is
It's
cold
more
as well.
intimidating because of its scare factor than it is. I mean, it's deadly. That's
If
what's
you
scary about
walk-
it, not its looks.
If you walk into a room
Oh, no,
and
no.
you see
Scream
something,
when you see it because it's going to kill you instantly.
if you see something that was designed to kill you, right? Like every element about it is like, oh, those are all of my fears, and it's going to end my life. You would be pretty scared, right? And the Nemesis isn't what I would probably fear. If the Nemesis had probably 6 more arms, then I might be a bit freaked out. And if it asked me how my day had been, I would run away.
If the Nemesis had like 6 legs and it like walked around and had a top hat and like it like saluted or something, I'd probably.
If it had a really posh English accent, then
I think I'd be a rather peculiar gentleman rather than scared.
well, a bit of an odd blow.
Hello, good day, gentlemen. I'm Nemesis. Exterminate.
This is an odd fellow.
Oh yes, I have seen things you could not even imagine, old chap. But yeah, I mean, honestly, though, as much as I give the hacking pod thing majigger in the warning shit, the Nemesis I think is fine.
Yeah.
We've only been wiped by it once, I think.
Yeah, and it's the same reason why we would
wiped by it once.
we could probably be wiped out by a detonator if it was in the same situation. Like it probably spawned in a really bad room, and we just kind of died because we didn't have the terrain and ammo or kind of anything to deal with it. Like it just happens, right? The Nemesis is not broken because you weren't equipped to deal with it. Like any enemy can do that, right? Like a dreadnought can spawn in like a normal ass mission, and the dreadnoughts aren't broken because you couldn't kill it. Like
I do still kind of like the idea of being able to hack a Nemesis because it's quite close to Betsy, and obviously it's nowhere near Betsy's nowhere near as strong as it is when you it's on your side. Neither with patrol bots, and you could sort of go somewhere in the middle where
very easily.
you wouldn't even be able to always hack the Nemesis. And the way it would work is it would still be shooting down like phase bombs, and you'd have to do the whole hacking thingamajig.
Yeah,
like you
you have
do with the turret,
15, 20 seconds to do it.
the turret controller one, except it's all the wires.
Well, the
and
thing
it's
is, right?
exploding as you do it.
If you could hack the Nemesis, at that point I would just want them to be able to hack everything. I want everything that is robot to be hackable. Like you stumble across a horde of shredders and you kill like all of them, and like 3 of them you can just walk up to it and just like insta hack basically.
Well, think about
and then
it.
you just have a bunch of swarm
if
shredders
hacking
following
the
you.
turret controller, if hacking the turret controller meant it hacked the turrets, then that would like change up how you approach the turret controller entirely.
Because then
you would be
you would
encouraged to leave as many alive as possible.
Yeah, because that would help you win. Although admittedly that would get a bit OP because that's a lot of turrets to defend you.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't know.
Maybe you'd have to pick one type to keep or something. I don't know.
Or maybe it's like a 50% chance of them detonating or getting hacked or something like that. It comes down to RNG. But
Do we know what the % chance is for the patrol bot to be able to be hackable?
No, I don't know it, but maybe we do know it.
I think it probably is known. Gutturally, probably 1 in 10.
My tab that has the wiki open is on Patrolbot already.
I'm guessing 1 in 10. That feels 1 in 8. That's my bet. Would it even have it on there?
Betting man,
If no one's done the math, then it's not going to be on there. But yeah, I mean, patrol bots are cool and all, but really, hacking wise, they're not. The only reason I hack them most of the time is because if I don't hack them, they'll come back to kill me, and it's like, well, I'd rather. And you can't kill them while they're hackable, right? Which I suppose is supposed to be a nice thing, but honestly, sometimes I can't hack them, and I know the swarm's going to go on long enough for it to come back. I just want to kill it. I just want to get it over with and kill the damn thing, and I can't, and it's kind of annoying.
Nemesis.
I'll take it the stat isn't on there, Harry.
No, it's not. I remember, sort of when we first seen teasers of the robots, just before season 1. We saw the prospector just wandering around, and then there's a video of an appendage sprouting from the ground, and there's this idea going around of are these mimicking Hoxie's wildlife, because the prospector feels like a silicate harvester.
Prospector is not a silicate harvester; it's a breeder. It's
no, because they sort of go along the ground with their little tentacles at the front of it and picking up dirt.
I think there is a very it's probably, I wouldn't say it's on purpose, and it probably is definitely not on purpose law-wise, but there is a definite because we compare them obviously, but they are very similar to the other enemies in Hoxie's, right?
Well, yeah, the appendages are like, well, the caretaker's a bit like a Corlock. It's the closest
Yeah.
person, and the appendages are like the sprouts, but they're also quite like Stabbervines at the same time. And
Oh, bloody Stabbervine.
which is cool. Stabbervines are cool.
I hate
You met
Stabbervines
Stabbervines recently, didn't you? Cause
Stabbervines are the bane of my existence, and I hate playing on that map when I have to. It's just
a hollow
no,
bro
it's
hater.
almost as bad as Magma Core.
Hollow bow hater.
I mean, honestly, I'm just gonna get this over the way because I wouldn't mind talking about hello, bro. But
Hollow.
I think we've said just about everything with the robots. I mean, I think we could all agree they weren't a mistake. They were fine.
They were
right?
a nice addition to the game. It adds a little
Yeah.
bit of like something else,
It's
like
an
diversity.
It's an
Instead of
extra
bugs
enemy
and trolls.
type. You know, it's new as well. Because if they had just kept adding, like, if they added a new bunch of glyphids or a new bit of like wildlife, then that's probably going to be all they're ever going to add. You know what I mean? But they started out with the season strong by adding like an entire new mining company.
Something that has a different
Like-
feel. That was important.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest reason I can give to why it's a good idea. Is that they have a very different feel to all the enemies that were around before them. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
They just have a completely different presence.
Yeah, which some people
That's a good
just
thing.
took the wrong way and they couldn't stand the change and the addition. Which I think is even weirder considering they stopped playing in Season 1 where they would only appear in the events and the game mode.
Yeah.
So they stopped playing the entire game because sometimes there was some robots, which is wild. But yeah, it is. I think they weren't a mistake, but maybe they could. Some things could be done better. But otherwise, I think it was perfectly good, and I look forward to some new enemies of whatever they're going to be. Not robots,
Zombies.
though. No more robots. Thank you.
Yeah,
Zombies.
or vampires or something like that.
Vampires.
Frankenstein. Yeah.
It's gonna get like some glyphid werewolf or some shit. Just come along and just start eating things.
In all fairness, season 3 is going to be, I mean, a bit earlier. What's currently predicted, but it is going to be around Halloween. So zombies.
I mean, I do like the idea of it won't be around Halloween. Halloween's October 31st.
Yeah,
It should be earlier than that.
Yeah,
Their
but-
plans would indicate.
maybe they will take longer on the update. to
Season
make
2
it-
wasn't delayed.
I think they should
No.
add in like an enemy type
Well,
that
you know-
fights with other enemy types.
That's what the robots should have been.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's what they should have done, but they didn't.
There should have been
Which
more.
is one
like,
of the biggest
natural-
things missing, I think. I guess the idea is that it's actually supposed to sort of paint the picture of DLGB even worse, because that's really a lot what the game is doing, is making the company of DLG seem bad. And I think the rivals do, because the indication is that they don't have any effect on the local wildlife. Like, the local wildlife are fine with the rivals being there, because the way they carry out their operations is much less aggressive, I guess.
You say that,
They
right?
don't really mind, they just
But
collect data.
has DRG built giant machines and like stuck it into
Yes.
the core? And I mean, I know they have, but they don't build. They don't build like hubs that like have like ungodly amounts of defenses in the place, like in the thing. Also, why?
Yeah, but I think the point is that it's all fixed. They're just trying to keep to themselves, the rivals.
Yes, but
Yeah, DLG are just going in wherever they want.
yeah, but
Sort of just
like
ruining the
Pretty
place.
much, yeah.
Season 2 was the rivals' way of like returning fire from the dwarves attacking their stuff, which kind of indicates that they didn't expect the dwarves to attack, or at least much as they did. So
Well, no, because everything before was defensive as well. That's the point.
yeah, but why?
Like they send us in sometimes with the intent to kill. As far as we know, the rivals never like intentionally.
Then
went
why have
after
they got
Dreadnought
so
platoons.
many things that want to kill us, right? Like
They don't,
Yeah, that's a point.
do
Though.
they?
They kind of do.
patrol bots. Why are they kit to the damn teeth? Shredders. What are they
They're
for?
just patrol bots.
Oh,
Shredders is
Well-
actually just for cutting out, like, destroying vegetation. Cutting down
so they-
trees. Literally
so they
cutting
do
down
mean
trees.
do you mean leaving an impact on the environment?
Yeah,
More the wildlife specifically than the environment.
yeah. Which
No,
we
I'm
do
trying
probably
to
less
say.
of most of the time.
Mm.
They would just
I
come
go
and
round.
pick some brewing ingredients and then go.
James
The Raptor would
your
like
weapon.
to have a word with you.
Yeah.
The fact that we leave the Retta down there to just pollute the
That's-
caves.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, the Minehead doesn't come back up. Right.
I suppose, but all of those are still smaller than the Caretaker. But and the
I
Caretaker's
don't
got
think they produce any pollution.
batteries, Harry. Caretaker's got batteries. Point proven.
Yeah,
I'm
It's
one.
got batteries.
Right. Yeah.
They don't produce any smoke or fumes until we destroy certain things.
Yeah. Any final words for the robots? Any hates that you want to get off your
Robots.
chest?
I just don't want them to be permanent.
So would you right?
No.
This is actually something. So because there is talk, they could just straight remove robots, but they probably won't. But what would you? What's your? What do you
It'd
hope
be
they
okay
do
if they were
next season?
isolated to like a mission, so they don't completely get rid of
Yeah,
them.
it's
but
called
you
rival
can-
presence and industrial sabotage.
Yeah, if they kept it to just those game modes, I think it'd be alright.
Yeah, and then they're still there if you want to, but you don't have to fight them unless you don't want to.
That kind of is already the case. Just the seasonal events. So really, you're just asking to remove the seasonal events and probably reduce the amount of rival warnings.
I guess
Which I
they
think
would
is the-
probably. They probably are quite likely to remove the season events because we tried to think our way around this. And it's just like, oh, they're only in rival presence missions now, but once the theme is no longer robots, what purpose can collecting data cells actually serve?
Yeah.
Like, what purpose can seasonal events serve? Do they just function exactly the same as they did before, but you can only find them in rival presence missions? It seems a bit odd. So it's the seasonal events I can see them removing because they are referred to as seasonal events. The other content isn't referred to in that same way. I think we could... A removal of those events is actually probably the most likely removal of anything. And that, because removing those does actually get rid of the robots from anything that isn't rival presence or industrial sabotage.
I do agree.
And they don't have to do anything else.
With basically everything. Like, with the hacking and the new stupid-ass hacking one that they've done, I think it makes sense to be completely removed. But to be honest, the Prospector I could see being left in the game. I could see, because, like, as much as, obviously, people would want to only have to choose to fight the robots,
Pardon me?
I think there should still be points in time where you bump into robots, right? I think, as small as that chance should be, I think it only makes sense, really. Like,
well, the seasonal events are also optional anyway. The Prospector is the least optional of the bunch because you
Yeah,
can sometimes
but-
hurt it by accident.
but I would also argue that the Prospector is the one that pays out the most that isn't a data cell. You know what I mean? It actually pays out minerals. Obviously, it doesn't pay out like at all any really. But maybe if they remove the data cell, which they would, it actually then just becomes like a better payout, harder difficulty Hooli Hoarder, basically. That
So you actually make it drop a lot of minerals,
yeah, and so
but not the data cell.
and maybe it should. I don't know. You could probably would leave it like as it is, but maybe they do make it like so it only fights back if you hit it, right? And I mean, obviously you might accidentally hit it. So it is a voluntary addition of bumping into robots, and if you accept the challenge of fighting the robots, it pays out a bunch of minerals, which I could see. The Prospector. Harry, I can hear myself
What?
very loud. The Prospector being the only event that could really do that, really. The hacking and all that variants of hacking are just data cells. And also, I want them gone. I think both. I think the stupid radar hacking is annoying and dumb, and I hate it.
I
Thing is,
don't like
the
the
antenna
deposit.
hacking.
Thing is,
No,
actually,
you hate that.
I almost completed a 5 antenna on my own. I actually hacked 4 of the things, but all the teammates left because they started the extraction before doing it, and the final one that I was relying on like getting hacking didn't spawn in. just straight up, like it was like 15 seconds left, and they just didn't respawn an antenna, or allowed me to hack an antenna. So I lost because of that dumbassery, and that really annoyed me.
I don't like the data deposit because it's basically just a black box, except you can get hurt.
It's a data deposit,
And
with
it's also
health.
copied from the mission. It's copied from Industrial Sabotage as well.
It's a data deposit
So I
with
like the
health,
other two more.
and it
Prospector and
doesn't
router are
stop
better.
spawning enemies. Right, that is my biggest issue. Like, if
Well, that
it's
is the most
broken,
combat-focused one.
if it yeah, but like the game has done that, right? Like with the the oil refinery, when you need to actually repair stuff, they stop spawning enemies.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They because they know that you're repairing it, you need to be able to have time. But for some reason, you just can't. You just need to keep fighting, and hope you find a couple seconds.
Are you sure you've actually observed this being objectively the case? It's not just there's a lot of enemies left over, so it just feels like
No,
you're getting
Harry,
overwhelmed.
have we not spent like a minute with the pods being like broken and need repairing, just fighting constantly? Has that not happened?
Yeah,
It has.
I guess, yeah.
Like we have killed more than enough enemies for extra, right? Like, not to mention it does spawn like I know it spawns shredders. I'm not actually sure if I've seen like many patrol bots.
It does
be
spawn
spawned.
patrol bots. Yeah,
But-
it does. It does.
It does.
Yeah. So honestly, those two, I'm fine with them being in the game. Like, I don't hate. Well, I do hate them, but I can tolerate them. But I would be very happy if they were removed. But Prospector's cool. I like Prospector.
I still don't actually think I've come across a prospector yet.
No,
No,
You'd
I haven't
probably
done any
know.
industrial sabotage missions.
no, they're not industrial sabotage. They're the
Oh.
seasonal event. Like,
I don't think they can even spawn industrial sabotage.
maybe
No. The seasonal events don't spawn industrial sabotage.
that's kind of
Mission
weird.
events do. That I have seen. I saw it the other day. I can say that for certain. I'm pretty sure the seasonal events don't though. Well, that's
That's
because
weird.
That
I
is
suppose
weird.
it's also weird. Yeah, because surely the idea is that they're all just separate.
I didn't think anything
installations.
stopped stuff from spawning in. Like, obviously, I knew that
Well,
some things had reduced chances because there was less rooms, but
Well, the prospectors it doesn't make sense because
it moved.
prospectors wouldn't be that close to any rival installations that aren't the data deposit.
Oh, fucking.
Tom, what the hell? And the
What's
data
going on?
deposits themselves doesn't make sense to be in an industrial sabotage mission because the caretaker is sitting on top of like a data hub.
I don't know. I think if anything, that proves the fact that they're not just going to add them to those game modes, considering they're not even in them now. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I don't know. Thing is, like, the new robot stuff, they're really not that big of the game, part of the game. Like, industrial sabotages I haven't done in so long, and I really don't intend to do them either. And that will probably continue being the case, no matter what they do with it. And goddamn, like, it's just, they're such a small part of the game, they're just kind of important now, that it doesn't really matter. I don't see why people stopped playing the game. It's just weird.
Well, we can
Would prefer to see that.
very quickly talk about the Xbox Showcase thing because
It's Harry Fatcock over here.
It's Harry Fatcock over here.
The showcase, yeah, it's gonna be an
And now-
interesting showcase.
well, no, because
Me and Tyler talked about this earlier.
so little to say in regards to Deep Rock. It's just like
Oh, and Deep Rock, yeah.
there won't be anything, but I'll actually mention like how there could be. Should we carry on then?
I was already gonna.
Right.
I'll start with you talking about the thing. Yeah.
So yeah, even a roundabout way, sort of. I wouldn't say we've expertly taken down or painted a good light
I wouldn't say
or
we've
shone a
expertly done
positive light on
everything.
the robots.
What's an
You
expert?
would, you would. Well, we are the experts. But we could start wrapping this up. I want to say something about the Xbox Game Showcase, Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase, which is the 12th to the 14th of June. So there's no real reason to think they would show anything like Deep Rock would be there anyway. But I think the only time Deep Rock was at an E3 or anything was actually when it was announced.
Probably, but like I mentioned it when you mentioned this before, but like eventually Deep Rock probably will become a game big enough, and if a season does line up, there probably will be
Well,
a
I
thing.
agree with that. If it was like lined up with a trailer, because they're not the kind to produce like a cinematic to announce a new season. So
Yeah.
we wouldn't, that would be something they would do, but it's not something that they do. So it's not going to happen. It's possible at some point they'll just have like the guys come out and like talk about, show like concept art and talk about season 3. But I don't know if there's really I don't know if Microsoft would care enough to have them there.
Probably not.
Well, I mean, right, that's not fair. Because think about what are the other stuff that they announce. More often than not, it's just a bunch of rubbish.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just a bunch of bollocks that no one cares
But
about.
Deep Rock's pre-existing. Like I said, the only other time it was there was when it was announced. That's the same for a lot of the other lowbrow games. That just get announced,
Yeah.
but they don't speak about them. They just announce them. They just show them in like that.
It's like a passing comment,
just like that
yes,
montage.
This is coming out.
I mean, I think Deep Rock is a cut above that now.
Yeah, which is why I think that eventually there will come a point where it might, because some games that have released, they do then do ones for like big updates, like with the big like Pirates of the Caribbean and Sea of Thieves collab, right? Like that update was significant enough and a thing that they're also kind of pretty strongly tied with Xbox that they would just do it for an update.
Sea of Thieves is very strongly tied with Xbox.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Well, it is an Xbox exclusive. Like it's game.
It's a Microsoft
it's a game.
exclusive.
Shut up.
It's a Game Pass Studios game.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Game Pass Studios. I think it's Xbox Game Studios.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think
technically
Game
made
Pass
by
Studios
Rare,
is a thing.
but Rare is now under that kind of like
Yeah.
area.
Well, Xbox
They
Game
got
Studios is a
assimilated.
publisher, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah.
some things.
Well,
Could be wrong.
they do basically everything now. Everything that's kind of come under Xbox's title, I think Bethesda's probably going to be under that now. But Bethesda's kind of too big to really say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bethesda's even got its own Doors companies and stuff like Obsidian.
Well, I
Well,
think
that's weird because Bethesda's a publisher, even though they're owned by another publisher.
yeah.
But ZeniMax
Yeah.
isn't a publisher. I think they're just like this weird overlord thing.
Well, isn't that ZeniMax is what they bought, right? That's what Xbox bought. Was ZeniMax.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is something. And I mean, it's going to be interesting, especially since Xbox probably now has the power where if the new game's coming out from Bethesda, they can probably sack Todd because it's not been going well.
No.
Like with all the new releases, all of them have been
No.
pretty big disappointments for everyone involved.
You get Starfunk gameplay.
Yeah, very
We're
likely.
definitely going to see some Starfunk.
Probably also
This is
the
good.
Obsidian
Tyler,
one.
this is good. You can put Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase in the tags.
We're going to get a little bit more. Is Stalker 2 come out yet, or is that still...
That is not until
To be
near the
released.
end of this year.
Yeah, so we're probably going to get a little bit more
We,
gameplay for that.
we got told that was like a thing, like, what, last year before that? It was like, yeah, Stalker
that
2.
is the same time as the Pirates of the Caribbean collab.
Yeah, which probably was 2
Collab.
years ago now, right?
Yes, collab. What's wrong with collab?
Nothing. Harry's just a meanie.
When there's a
That's
collab.
just a prick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we probably, I don't know, when is 3, that's in like 3 days, right? Not even that.
It's on
3
Sunday.
days, yeah.
Alright. That'd be interesting.
God, that is close, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely going to be worth a watch. Well, mate.
Well, probably at least highlights, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, I mean,
mean-
I'll probably end up watching the stream anyway, just in the
Yeah.
background.
if,
Nah, the stream itself was garbage because they just spend
I like
so
watching
long.
it.
You just
Well,
want to watch
no.
the highlights.
No, just remember we
Might as well
watched
watch it.
No,
one.
I don't like highlights.
We watched one year, and that was the year when the Sea of Thieves one came on, and like you just gasped, you were set asunder, like, and that was a pretty cool thing to find out like then and there, like
That was I did like that a lot.
yeah,
I
because
want to ask Tom's opinion on all the weapons that he doesn't have yet.
okay, Tom, what's your opinion on all the weapons you don't have yet?
No,
Don't
let's
have
get,
them
let's
yet.
get,
And what about you,
specific.
James, too? What about the guns you
Well,
don't have?
James is currently trying to unlock the M1000, so
Yeah, I'm doing a better job than Tom is, but that's not hard.
what?
I mean, you
No.
do have
Would
like engineers
I've got
weapons,
the
right?
coil
No.
gun.
Oh, and
Oh,
the coil
fuck
gun.
it.
See, you don't have the coil gun, do you,
You
Tom?
don't have the M1000.
Yeah,
No, I've
he's-
got
Games
the-
like
the-
3 years.
Yeah, he's level like what, 12? Like or like 30.
Yeah,
No,
but
I've
he's
got, like,
saying he's
level
doing a better
4.
job than me.
Yeah, well, that's because
Yeah.
he's already, like, you're level 300.
my
You're
engineer
10
already.
times played as much. He shouldn't have a weapon that you don't. Like, you're losing, Thomas. Admit it. You're somehow
Admit
losing.
it. I'm better.
First time Tom has ever lost.
Other than when I lost my virginity.
No, you won
I'd
your
like to talk
virginity.
about.
No, you won.
I'd like to talk about the shard fragment isn't that great, but we also need to probably wrap up.
Yeah, this,
I'll just leave
that's
on that
fiction.
bombshell.
There's not much. Like, we still.
I know
probably
that
got-
bombshell.
I forgot that I went for dinner on the footage.
What was
so.
what was the ending for Top Gear? It was on that bombshell. But what
and
did
on
they
that
say?
bombshell, good night.
And that is
Top Gear,
an
ladies
English
and
show that is a reference that probably most other people would get because Top Gear just somehow was that big. Like,
Top Gear has. It's not just an English thing. There are several different Top Gears.
yeah, but no
the
one
British one is the
gives a
better one.
shit.
Yeah, but R1 is the top one, but it's not
Yeah.
good
The
anymore
Top
because-
Gear.
Oh, it used to be.
Is it James Hammond and Richard Clarkson
Yeah, those are
and
the
Jeremy Seinfeld,
those are the girls.
the girl,
Girls, yeah.
the Chipettes?
Chickens.
Yeah.
Jerome Clarkson. It's the African American one.
What's the Richard? James May would be
Ricard.
Jamil May, Jamal, and Ricardo May. No, Ricardo Hammond. This is borderline. We should stop.
No, this is just
Well, the thing
most
is that we just,
wafflest shite I've ever heard.
honestly, we're done, but
Yeah,
we're not done.
We are in the waffle stages.
Like we there's no real reason to
Entered
stop
the
now.
waffle zone.
Got plenty of footage.
What is a ruffle copter?
On a
Just see the
Casper's now,
implications
for
of what
God's
a
sake.
waffle copter is. And its effect on the wider economy.
I really have no idea though.
Speaking
Tom,
of
you
bomb,
better-
I should probably check.
Yeah, you and your stocks.
Yeah, when are we
I
gonna
got
get chiseled
pissed off,
rat
sold at a
stocks?
massive loss.
Yesterday I put like my money into nat gas, and within a second of putting it in, so I put like the loss window for about $5. As
When
soon
we-
as I put it in, it instantly pulled it out. I was like, "What?"
When are we gonna get chiseled rat? The news source for all things stocks, motorbikes,
Stock-
and poker.
Yeah.
Motorbike accidents.
Stocks, motorbike, and poker.
Ponker.
I think
Oh,
that'd be a good
speaking
channel.
of, there's a poker game on Sunday that's like for beginners, so it's not any money.
Then what's the
It's
point?
like basically teaching you how to play.
Yeah, but I think we've kind of passed that stage now, right? I mean, me and Harry were so good.
Harry
that- I mean, what's the point? Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. We need the rock and stone thing. So, like and subscribe.
James,
Like that.
oh yeah, when I'll talk to you after because the video's
Oh,
still
actually,
going
I've
on.
got,
That didn't stop you before.
Well,
I've got a better
I
idea.
forgot. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
If
so-
you don't like and
Talking much, I was
subscribe,
in a
you
mission.
ain't coming
That's
home.
why I wasn't really talking. And then
Yeah.
whenever I was like taking a break from the mission, I was then on my phone doing this shit.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Well, I think we could all comfortably say that this was a podcast, and if it
It
was
was.
anything
It
other
was a
than a
podcast.
podcast, this would be a pretty embarrassing show. Yeah.
I mean, why not just keep it going? Really, just
I mean,
Might
right.
as well just do a whole
on
2
the-
hours of this.
on the-
it doesn't have to be about Deep Rock at all.
We're on the way to the drop pod now, so you have until we get there, and then I'm ending this.
I'll just
So-
talk to James, but I've got
I
a couple
thought
of ones,
maybe we
James,
should
that you
talk
should
a
look
little-
at.
Oh, yes, actually, I do need to.
Harry, let's just talk over them.
I thought maybe we should talk a little bit about the salt pits, right? So,
Right.
Fuck the salt pits.
What do you mean? What? The
I
salt
don't. I don't think James has
No,
even
that's-
been
that's-
to the
that's-
salt pits. Never.
It's like the first biome you get introduced to. You have to play it for like 3 missions.
James,
So-
James,
I
Don't
probably
look
do.
Have you got right? It says Canadian Natural Resources. and
Canadian natural resources.
and,
you should
and-
deep dive. You should
so
deep
just
dive.
is Oxy.
I could do with doing the deep dive.
OXY.
I need to get
and
the
CNQ.
crossbow firebolt, which is
I've
like
got
the last
CNQ.
overclock I
I
need to
don't
get.
know about the other one you said.
So
OXY.
I'm down.
Oxy. It's
OXY,
Occidental
Oxy.
I
Petroleum
assume
Company.
Tom
It's
might be down.
fantastic.
Then again, he's played a
Guys.
mission, and he can only stand playing 3 missions a day.
This is a preview of what you'll
Never mind.
see on the Chiseled Rat channel.
the chiseled rat channel, yeah.
Now I know it's not
That's
going to
sick.
always do the same thing every single day, but it has done the same thing every single day, which
What
is
just
drop just after market open,
I sent
and then it
invite
shot up afterwards.
to
And
deep
every
drop.
time I've just put in a shit ton after it dropped to market open, and then it's just gone up by like a couple of percent, or not a couple of, like 0.1%. But because I put like 300 in just this morning, made about 250.
Chisel
Nice.
Rat could be a stream channel. You know, how some channels have that, like a
It's
VOD.
very, it moves around a lot, so there's a lot of potential for big profit. And Canadian Natural Resources is quite good too.
Because it would be a very interesting VOD to hear Tom talk on and on about natural Canadian
Tom-
resources.
Yeah, it would be great, wouldn't it?
Have you got any
Love
good
it.
ones, James? Because I got 200 left, and I
Honestly,
don't know what to put it
I'm
in yet.
not-
Yeah, so
Most- the best
this
one
has
I've had
been
is
the
Snapchat
Barrel
so
Vision
far,
podcast.
Genuinely.
I
I've made,
thank
like,
you all for
fucking
stomaching this.
60%.
I think we can all comfortably say we're not having all 4 of us back on again, because really having those 2 here didn't really do anything, because me
Oh,
and
that guy's
Harry
just
are
rubbish,
very
Tom.
comfortable with just talking to each other for an
I
hour.
was gonna buy I missed
and
it.
Yeah.
so there really
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
much they could add. So thank you all, and you'll never hear from these guys again. We are going to put them in the
Absolutely. I'm
dirt.
coming in next time.
He might, but only one of them.
One at a time.
Yeah, and maybe it will be more. I don't know. We don't know what we're going to talk about next week. It normally comes to us in the
My balls.
time that passes, and I
Oh,
don't
Neo looks good.
don't-
My
Neo's
fat
dropped.
balls.
Neo's dropped a lot.
don't
Look at that
actually
biggest-
know
Oh,
yeah.
what we're going to be doing
I might do.
on Saturday either, because I'm
Have you
really
got
struggling
Neo?
to be bothered to make a video. So it will probably be a secondary tier
Neo.
list for anyone
Yes.
Don't put
listening.
anything in there.
Jesus
Have
Christ.
you, like,
I
got it, like, on
apologise.
the watch list?
This is awful.
It's on my watch list, yeah. I'm just-
Love you all. Thank you, Rock and
'cause
Stone,
it
so on and
just
so
dropped
forth.
a bunch.
Sincerely, if you are
Ooh,
listening to it, I
it's dropping.
actually love you. Send me your address, I'll come around and suck your dick.